decided I was in love with this woman who was obviously not in love with me. And the thing to do was escape into the Women's Army Corps and go to Paris, where Gertrude Stein had been. And to see, of course, little did I know that I was never going to get to see Paris. So I remember I went down to the Black Hawk Hotel in Davenport, Iowa, where the recruiting sergeant was, and she was just darling to me. She looked sort of like all my old gym teachers in drag. Stomping around with little earrings, and her hair slicked back, but very daintily done, so you couldn't tell she was a dyke. But I knew. It was just sort of a man's role, being in the Army. And it attracted a lot of the women I knew came down for their interviews in drag.
What do you mean?
Wearing men's clothes.
Really?
Yeah. Wearing Argyle socks and pinstripe suits, and the hair cut just like a man with sideburns, shaved over the ears, the whole bit. And they let them in, like that, much to the credit of the Army psychiatrist, who would say, have you ever been in love with a woman? And of course you would say, of course not. What's a woman? I just love men sitting there in your pinstripe suit. I came in with my suitcase, staggering down to the mess hall. And I heard a voice from one of the barracks say, "Good God, Elizabeth, look, here comes another one." And
They immediately knew you were gay.
yeah.
Why?
I don't know. Did.
Do you think you were stereotypically dykey then?
No, not at all. Never was, really. One short period when I was first in the Army, I tried it, and I looked so weird.
Why?
I just don't,
Was there pressure to
I'm
try
not
it?
shaped like a man, Yeah, there was a lot of pressure that you should look butch, if you were.
Huh.
And, of course, you wanted to, because you wanted to be identified, as a dyke. But it was frightening, because if you weren't really like that, and you knew you were acting all the time, and there was no way to counter it so you could really be yourself. And I remember sneaking into the bathroom and putting on cologne, because you were only allowed to wear Old Spice aftershave lotion. And you had to wear men's jockey shorts, which never fit me. It was terrible. So you were always
hysterical.
adjusting the damn things.
I was taking off jockey shorts.
Yeah. And, your
Did
uniform.
the Army know this was going on and sort of look the other way?
Yeah,
They
during
just
that
didn't care?
time, until they decided to crack down, and then
Oh,
it was
why do you
hell
think
on
they
wheels.
cracked down?
Well, I think several of the officers who were gay themselves got scared. Well, we went in, when you went in the Army, you went in, as I said, we were interviewed, a lot of the women in drag. And once they got you in, then they decided they wanted you out. And of course, nobody could quite understand that, since most of our officers were gay, and kind of openly. And they started that incredible witch hunt in Tokyo, which was just unbelievable, sending 500 women home for dishonorable discharges. So that every woman I know practically that was in the Army has a dishonorable discharge from that era. Every day there were court-martial trials, and you were up there testifying against your friends, or they were testifying against you. That yes, they had seen you necking with a woman, or they had seen you dancing with a woman too close, or whatever, until you got afraid to even look your neighbor in the eye, afraid of everything. I know we are oppressed by society, certainly. Good God, the times when we've been beaten up, run over by the cops, persecuted by police, so many times. And there was no recourse, you just had to put up with that crap. And being called names by the police, being rousted out of bars for no reason, where you were just sitting having a beer. So I'm sure that whole society,
It's incredible, incredible to me that you lived with that on a daily basis, accepted it.
You had to. What else were you going to do?
But what kind of toll is that taking? That's a number.
Yeah. I don't know. I suppose it takes a terrible toll. In that I never felt anyway that I was really worth very much. That whatever I did had to be to make a secret little safe place in my life for myself, somehow, without any help at all, from any quarter, except perhaps my dogs, and perhaps a couple of very good friendships. That's about it. You know, I don't.
San Francisco even then was known as a gay town.
Oh yeah, especially right after the war. It was really wild. There were 5 gay bars on Broadway, and dancing, and you could go from bar to bar. You know, of course. Then the GIs would wait outside and try to beat you up because they got mad that they couldn't dance with the girls and the girls were gay. You know, and we would announce this to them: "Go away! You know, I'm a lesbian. I'm a queer. Get out of my life." And anyway, we all lived on Bush Street, in this old 2-story house. It was a very exciting place to be because we were, as I said, in bars every night. And nobody wanted to work because you might miss something. But again, you had to work in order to get any money to go to the bars at all. So you would work part-time. I remember there was, oh God, Blum's Fruitcake Factory. And I remember we got bandanas and tied them over our heads so they couldn't see that we had these very short haircuts. And there were about 3 of us. Nancy, who was a little tiny diminutive dyke, who had to have all her clothes made for her, like little itty-bitty pinstripe pants and little infinitesimal suspenders with her initials in gold. And she even had a little itsy-bitsy tuxedo with marvelous. Yeah, oh, she was. She was barely 5 feet tall, I think, if that. And very blonde, short hair, you know. And she stomped, and she really wasn't butch at all. It was an act. Some of the girls were butches like Nancy, and others were femmes like me. And everybody had their allotted task. The butches had to do all the heavy work. And heavy work was like, if you wash the sheets, they didn't have laundromats. So I'd wash the sheets in the one bathroom in the whole house, put them in the bathtub and put a board across the bathtub and sit on it and read and squash the sheets. That was the femme's job. And then the butches would take over and wring out the sheets. So there was itty-bitty Nancy bringing out the sheets. And the butches would hang up the sheets. The relationships that lasted 20, 30 years were role-playing because everybody knew what they had to do, you know. And now when you say, okay, I'm not butcher femme, I'm just me. Well, who the hell is me, you know? And what do I do? How am I to behave? At least in that role-playing, there were, you know, you knew the rules. Because you'd at least known your mother and father, so you knew what they did and what their lives were like, and you tried to do the same thing. You got a house, right?
Now you think there are fewer rules, so it's harder?
Yeah, I think so. What if the whole thing reverses in 10 years and we're all on some list or another? You know, I was around during the McCarthy era, you know, and it scares me. I was around in the Army Inquisition era, and that scares me. I just don't know about teachers coming out, and they are, you know, and people in the Army coming out, and they are. I know they're helping. My God, they're helping. But what will be done to them in the future? I don't know.
Have you ever come out of the closet?
Yeah, a couple, 3 times. I'm coming out now, right? Big white face on a screen saying, yeah, you know, I'm gay. It scares me a little. There's that little reserve somewhere in my mind of, oh, I'm going to get swatted down for this, you know.
Do you think that if society accepted lesbianism that you would have a different sense of yourself now? Or
Yeah, I might become a great criminal. Who knows? Something that was not, you know, the mainstream of society. I find one of the depressing things about lesbians being accepted or the gayness accepted is that we lose our sense of the in-group, the adventure of being different in a straight world, which was always exciting to me anyway, you know, of having our own language, our own terminology.
It makes you kind of sad to see that.
Yeah, I'll miss that a lot. That secret society, the Little Orphan Annie Decoding Society, you know. I belong somewhere that nobody knows about. That's very secret, you know.
What do you think of it? I mean, is there an equal trade-off of your being able to feel free?
No, I would prefer that we be accepted, yeah, because it carries over into your life. You know, how do you have a career? How do you do anything if you can't be yourself?